you doing? What are you doing?
Well, if it works for Steven Soderbergh, it will work for me.
I think it's great, this dog filter. I like it. Good.
Hello and welcome to the Grifford Show. I know we both got the same top on, but that was not planned, it just was a happy coincidence. Today we're going to be looking at another big movie review, and this time is going to be Unsane, and Josh will give you more information.
Unsane is the new film from Steven Soderbergh, and it stars Clair Foy as Sawyer Valentini, a young woman who relocates to Pennsylvania to escape her stalker. But when she attends counselling, she unwittingly commits herself to a mental institution where she finds herself trapped in a nightmare situation. However, is it real or is it all in her head?
Right, so first of all, we're going to talk about Clair Foy because she's obviously the main talking point of this movie. She was fantastic. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I've seen her in The Crown and I thought she was, fantastic in that. And in this one in particular, she, it was a complete, drastic change really. She's gone from playing this historical, I say historical because the Queen's obviously still alive, but she's playing the Queen's life, to this situation where she's just this woman who is dealing with a lot of trauma in her life and is put in this even worse situation. And I think she helped get across that, trauma that she was dealing with throughout the movie.
Yeah, she definitely got across that kind of panicked state that she was constantly in. But as well as always being constantly on edge and stuff like that, she managed to get across a lot of humour as well, I think, which was quite weird for this film because it's quite a dark film, quite a dark tone, but there was a few not laugh out loud moments, but she managed to get across a little bit of wit, which obviously added to her character.
As we found out after watching the film, the camera wasn't your typical camera. It was all filmed on an iPhone 7, which in itself is an incredible feat, I suppose.
Yeah,
what did you think about that?
Well, I think it just added to, there's a lot of shots of shots from a bush, and just there's a lot of close-ups and in your face stuff, and it kind of added to the stalker vibe. It kind of created a sense of claustrophobia, and especially the shots when it's in a bush, it's like you are stalking her, which I thought was really good.
It has that almost fisheye lens to it. Like there's that little bit of curve in the shot, which adds to that almost like you're looking. You're there. It almost gave that hidden documentary feel to it, where it's almost like you're obviously secretly recording them instead.
But I think I didn't really notice that it was filmed on an iPhone, to be honest, because I think after the first 10-15 minutes or so, you're just locked in to the story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of edgy seat moments, and I just found it was what's the word? Help me with the word. Thrilling, riveting.
Yeah, thrilling.
One of those ones, but yeah, really good.
Probably due to the camera work as well, there's a consistent uncomfortable feeling. It's not like the level of Get Out, because they got that one spot on, but you're watching it and it's not comfortable viewing. I'm not saying it's a bad film, but you're not watching it with a lot of comfort.
Yeah, well, like we said before, it just adds to that kind of, what's the word? No, I've literally forgot the word.
Claustrophobic?
Yeah, that's it, that one. Yeah. It adds to the claustrophobia vibe, and I think as well, what the director does really well is mix quite a few different genres into one movie. Obviously, Steven Soderbergh is known for a lot of his heist movies because he did the Ocean's movies and most recently Logan Lucky. But in this movie, he tackles kind of a mystery thriller. There's a lot of suspense, and then he kind of just veers straight into horror territory, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's as well. There's that very real fear, I guess, of being, mental hospitals aren't generally like that, but it's that fear of being trapped somewhere and not being able to get out with nobody there to help you, really. Yeah. And you're sort of in this place you don't want to be. You don't know anyone. You're by yourself, and the film gets that feeling across almost perfectly.
It's also a very scary concept when you think about it. When you think about all the things that come up on your phone and it says click here to read the terms and conditions, what do? what do you do?
Yeah, you don't bother reading.
Just
it,
click
you
accept.
click it, yeah.
And who knows, you might be involuntarily committing yourself to a mental institution without knowing. And it is quite a scary concept when you think about it. But just going back to you saying about being alone, she wasn't always alone, because there was a couple of good supporting characters. One in particular was Jay Farrow, who played Nate, who obviously we won't go into much about his character, but he's kind of like the only friend really she has in there.
Yeah, he's sort of like the Red in Shawshank Redemption, because this film, especially towards the end, kind of has a Shawshank feel to it as well.
Well, it technically is like a prison.
Yeah.
They're kept there against their will, so it has got that prison vibe.
Yeah, he was the guy that was sort of like making it more comfortable for Clair Foy's character to settle, really.
So actually, you still don't really know how you feel about this film. Would you say there's any negatives, really?
Yeah, when I was watching it, I didn't really, like I said, I couldn't think of anything really to say about it. Like, I didn't know how to feel about it. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't fantastic. And I think maybe that's because it's Steven Soderbergh's first venture into this different genre. And I think that was quite evident in the fact that the film wasn't it wasn't amazing. But yeah, I mean, it could have also been due to the fact that the film was uncomfortable to watch, but I was just sort of sitting there thinking, there's a lot, especially, there's a lot of plot holes like you've put up in it, and there's some concepts that sort of appear out of nowhere, and they don't, I think there's only like one of them which is sort of backed up with some exposition, which is like because the stalker concept kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then that fortunately is explained through a flashback, but that's sort of like the only thing that gets really explained.
Yeah, but just going back to what you said about plot holes, there are quite a few plot holes when you come out of it and you really think about what you just watched. And obviously, I'm going to avoid spoilers, but just little things like, and to be fair, the things I'm going to talk about are in the trailer, so I am not spoiling anything. But from my understanding is that if you voluntarily committed yourself, they wouldn't make you take all your clothes off and wear a gown. Am I right? I think so. There's a few other things like, even if the police do get a phone call saying, from a crazy person, they still have to investigate it. And just, there was a lot more moments like this when you come out of the film and you think, this is quite unbelievable. Like, they wouldn't let this happen. They wouldn't have this happening, like people being sectioned and held against their will, with nothing really done by the police or anything like that. So a few moments like that kind of annoyed me when I kind of reflected on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those, it's that unfortunate thing of, let's make a mental hospital seem like it's the worst place on the planet, and when they're not. And the idea of them is obviously to help people with mental illness and make them feel comfortable, but it just seems to be playing on that cliche a bit too hard.
Yeah, a lot of the characters in there are very over the top stereotypes of what you find in mental institute. You think a lot of these horror movies, they show these like people like rocking back and forth in chairs and stuff like that, and you just think it's not actually like that. But obviously they have to play up to the.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think at the end of the day, it wouldn't make a great, horror thriller movie if it was like the nicest place. But I think it's definitely one of the things where it's almost a bit like when they make sharks like these killing machines, and it's that whole Hollywood cliche, which I think sort of got to me. It's just like it's been done before. Yeah. I mean, it's not the same as every other one. It's just a concept that's been done before, which sort of kept nagging at me, really.
And as well as that, we had the cinematography and the good bits, but for me personally, I had it as a bad point as well, because it was filmed on a phone. The aspect ratio was a little bit jarring. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically when when you watch the screen and it goes from that to that to that. Yeah. I am explaining that correctly.
Yeah, like when you accidentally press a button on your remote and it suddenly changes from the whole screen to like a square.
Yeah, but it was very squared in this film, but that was probably because it was filmed with a phone.
I mean, the lighting was great in a lot, most scenes, but there were some scenes, could be done on purpose to add to the whole, ambience of the scenes. But there was a lot of shadow on faces. and you couldn't really see a lot of what was going on.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? There was a lot of scenes, especially when it was dark, you didn't really get what was going on.
But yeah, like you said, that could have added to the Strawberry vibe. They could have been going for that. But it could have been because they filmed on the phone.
Yeah.
We don't know, unfortunately.
Plus, back to the plot holes even. The ending. Not going to spoil it, but it was there's an unnecessary like final 5 minutes
scene.
Didn't need to be in there. Didn't add to anything.
Doesn't
to the
explain
movie.
anything whatsoever. It's just.
It's almost as if Steven Soderbergh had
Didn't
to rush
know how
it.
to end it.
Yeah, he like had a deadline and all of a sudden was like, I haven't finished this film. Let's just add an ending.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not what happened, but it's just
it
one
felt
of those
rushed.
things.
I think that's what we.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Especially with how the final build-up, it got really good for the final build-up, which made the ending disappointing, really.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because it was one of those things where built up, you're like, oh my god, and then suddenly it's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And there's something, you sort of left with a lot of questions back to the whole plot hole issue.
Right, well, I thoroughly enjoyed Unsane. It was a very good thriller and it had some very good horror elements that I really enjoyed. And Clair Foy was outstanding, really. She really did carry this film. So I'm going to give Unsane a solid 7 out of 10.
I mean, like I said earlier, I don't really know what to think about this film. It left me, I couldn't say whether it was really good. I don't think it was really bad, but I can't say it was really good. And this is definitely in that list of films where you have to watch again, I suppose. You can't really watch this without, especially for the first time, you can't really watch it without any distractions. There's a lot of moments where if you miss it, then the whole film you don't get what's going on. So I feel like I'm going to give this film a 6.8 out of 10. Okay, so that was our review of the movie Unsane. It's out now. If you've seen it, let us know what you think in the comment section below.
And as always, don't forget to leave us a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date with every new video that we release. And I remembered it, don't worry, social media, please hit us up. We good?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah,
Sweet.
see you later.
Bye-bye.
After the film's finished.
I think
Yeah, have you seen it? If you haven't seen it, let's do this again.
hit that subscribe button. No, not as always.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning because I want to talk about it.
Yeah. As always.
Okay.
Always subscribe, you're not going to be as always, are they?
So once they've already subscribed, they don't need to keep clicking that button.